All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Ancient Magus Bride,
Episode 6.
Yes, and
We have wrapped up that little bit of story there.
yes, and we've got basically a whole open world now. What do they want to do with this? We don't know. They need to answer some questions.
They do
About Elias and why he chose Chisei.
Yes.
That was the big thing that was left as a plot thread of sorts dangling.
Yes.
I mean, it's been dangling this whole time, but they drew special attention to it.
We also need to see some extra development and spotlight on the fact that Chisei has now made a conscious decision of, I'm going to stick with Elias.
Yes.
So that whole bit needs to be addressed.
Right, and also the parameters around what that means for them going forward.
Exactly. So,
especially around the whole bride thing.
Right.
All right, so without further ado, let's get into this episode and see what happens. Oh,
okay, so
this psycho's back. Okay, we're back here. Oh, they're waiting for Chisei to come out.
Gotcha, okay. But why did they show that person?
Yeah.
Have they been watching over this little experiment gone wrong the entire time?
Return to being a fairy.
Okay.
Whoa.
Human supremacist. That was...
Yeah. I was wondering about his arm. Yep. She cleansed it.
Yep. Boom.
Ah.
Let's just show off some more amazing visuals. Why not? Oh, because she didn't end everything?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cat's still around. Cool.
Oh, they're so happy that Molly's okay. Yes, exactly.
Uh-huh. Really?
Okay. Maybe he has a little bit more trust in Elias and their connection there. Yeah, they've been using that little device for that, though. Oh, famous.
Okay.
So he's not as strong as Elias by a long shot.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But maybe his is.
We'll see.
Not
as long as Lyndall, though.
Right.
The random cat jumping from the fire. They're still cats.
In the same way that she's split between the fairies and the humans, she's also.
He's dispassionately telling her the truth, which I think is very refreshing for her. Oh. Whoa.
メスに告白されるなんて上等なオスじゃねえか。見直したぜ魔法使い。情けないから放っておかない。
This is great. They're kind of meta interpreting what they're saying. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
長い旅路を歩いてきたあなたが望むものを手に入れられそうでよかったですわ。
We'll see.
That shot.
Yeah.
Did they help her recover better? Or?
We'll see. All in all, a good sign.
Yeah.
God, this imagery.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, even if there's not a lot of motion happening.
Hey, this guy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
異常というわけじゃない。
To be expected.
体の機能を最低限に抑えて、失った魔力を補うことに集中しているんだ。
Okay.
街中よりも森や水中の方が回復は早い。時期目は覚める。
Yeah, it's not.
まだ隠してることがあるだろ
う。へえ、わかるのか。
君の監視役として配属されて10年も経てば、布の下にある骨の顔色くらいわかるさ。
The doves fly. And whatever that chicken thing is. You saw it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the fairy, the fairies. She looks more human than the fairy. She has a procession and everything.
Yeah, that little like.
Oh. This is
okay. I like this guy. Everything in this show is so imaginative.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the coming of Galadriel or something.
Right, yeah.
Wait. So if she's the queen of fairies and he's not quite a fairy, not quite human,
right.
Is he kind of one of her like ex-subjects basically?
She's got the feral, I'm not human, I'm ancient
eyes. Yeah.
これはあまり口を聞かない方がいい。彼女は妖精たちの女王。
Oh, he actually
handled it. 夜の一角を滑る者。
Wow.
Okay.
Titania.
名を呼ぶのは夫の他ではお前くらいよ。そう。お前、異国の神を祀る神父とかいう祭司だったかしら。楽園の果実を堕落のみとした侵略の匂い。ここには。
Whoa! They're being awfully specific here.
Yeah.
Jeez! What?
Okay. That thing that she just said was a bit...
Oh my gosh.
さてソン、お前の妻を紹介してもらえる？
うわー、赤毛だ。これはいい魔法使い。
Magus is the king. Yep.
オベロ。
Or her son, potentially?
Maybe?
One of those two.
あれれ。
Oh, it's the king.
Okay.
人形でもありません。離れてください。
いいね。男だね。半端者のお前の変化はとっても素敵だ。お前が親かつがいのように振る舞う様はとても面白いよ。しかし。
Wait, had he been following Chisei before the auction?
いつまで持つだ
ろう。子供をいじめるものではなくてよ、あなた。あいにく。あなたのような。
It's just like this is what I have to put up with every day.
わかったよ。じゃあ手っ取り早く寝ぼすけさんを。
I love their use of music.
Yep. And I love how when they do magic, it's not like how do I say it? There's like a process to it.
Yeah. Why is she so shocked?
いい夢は見れたかい？
誰？
おはよう。
エリアス。
体は
just a little while.
疲れや痛みはない。
ないです。
よし。
よし。Hello.
Now, what is this fascination with her red hair?
ごめんなさいね。
I don't know.
Does that mean something?
私はティターニア。このアルビオン。ひいてはティルナノーグに住む妖精たちの女王。
俺はその夫のオベロン。よろしく。こいつのこと怖くない？大丈夫？無理してない？
Yeah.
別に。
そっか、よかった。で、子供はまだ？
だって夫婦なんだろう。子供は可愛いよ、特にね、金髪。
Oh my gosh.
俺たちはね、金髪が一等お気に入りで。
スプリガン。
行け。
Yes. Get the dogs. Go.
彼はちょっとかなりだいぶ頭が
Kind of really stupid? How about like actually stupid?
不出来な夫でごめんなさいね。子供。
Yeah, what is that?
ん？どうかした？
いえ、なんでもないです。
Awkward.
Yeah.
エリアス？
いや、今内臓がギュッとなんだろ
あらあら、まあまあ。たまには役に立つのね。この能なしも。お話はまたね。新たな魔法使いのヒナに会えてよかった。いつか遊びに来てちょうだい。宴を開くわ。
Wow.
う。返してくれる気があるのなら行きますよ。
どうかしら。お前もその子も夜の世界に連なる者たちはすべて可愛い可愛い私の子供たちですもの。
And is he gonna come back now?
踏み込もうとは夢にも思うな。
Whoa.
肉の殻を持つ半端者が立ち入れる国では。
Okay.
So that's why he lives over here. He's been banished essentially
Those
from.
with shells bring only
分かっ
calamity.
ている。奴のせいでどれほどの人と霊が失われたか。
あれは人の犯した罪さ。割を食うのはいつだって人間の影である俺たちだな。
Okay.
さて、あの二人がうまくいくか書けないかい？期待にや。
それよりも何人できるかかけた方が建設的だわ。
違いない。
Oh my gosh.
Okay, and our favorite priest comes back.
For worshipping the wrong god, I banish you to some random part of the forest. Figure it out yourself.
心配したんだ。と、まずいな。うちのシスターに怒られる時間だ。帰るよ。
Yeah, sorry, it was due to circumstances outside my control.
Right.
預かれないのが残念だ。
Now seeing him run, it's just the goofiest thing. Yeah, he is a decent person.
10年ずっと変わりやしない。
He's out of his depth a little bit. You know, he's trying to do the best he can, but yeah, he's not.
10年前にエリアスに買われてたらよかったのに。
これから10年じゃ効かない時を過ごすのに。
あなたの実験が成功した
Yeah,
らいいですけど。
exactly.
Yeah, if it works.
するよ。
しますかね。
させるんだよ。
Food time.
これは
Yes.
時期外れだけどクリスマスプディングだね。
Okay.
戻った日から寝かしてあったんだってさ。
Wow. So what's the occasion?
美味しい。
Oh, some pseudo
3D.
3D.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the
like
sorcerer. Oh, this is got the opening.
All right.
Ooh, that was
All right.
fun.
It was
Like-
that. Okay, so they kind of unepisodicness.
Yes, they did.
Like-
which is weird because it felt like they were resolving it as an episodic way, and then
Right.
they decided not to by showing the concurrent story
Yeah.
with Elias and the two sorcerers.
Exactly, and bringing up the
The psycho sorcerer,
the Tucker 2.
the androgynous. Yeah,
Let's just call him Tucker 2 for now.
call him chauffeur. Instead.
Yeah. Okay, so that guy's still around, or that person
Yeah.
is still around.
Yeah.
And they brought up that other person at the end, so it seems like they're bringing in a whole lot of sorcerers.
I think it's good that they're doing this because
Yes.
it's getting us to realize that yes, mages are very uncommon right now.
Right, and we're
And
getting to see
sorcerers
just how
are
much so.
very common.
Exactly.
So, but the big thing that they did this episode was they really had a positive, overarching connection between Elias and Chisei.
Yes.
Which I think is good to have that set up now for when it breaks.
Okay.
Because it's not going to be completely destroyed, but it's going to get frayed and a little bit tested.
I don't want that to happen for a while, though. Because
No. Trust me. I don't think it's going to happen for at least another 2 or 3 or 4 episodes.
Because I like how this episode was handled, but this is still just the 6th episode.
Yes.
We haven't actually had very much time with these characters, and since they're very much going for a slow burn development kind of style, I want to see a lot more of that before they really start having things go badly. Not necessarily for them as their relationship or whatever, but just like in the world, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
because that is something that they seem to be building towards. That the conflict that Elias will have with the sorcerers will escalate.
Yeah, because what we have is we have a looming presence in the background.
Several.
Well, I'm talking about the Psycho Sorcerer.
Well, okay, yes.
He was literally looming in the background during the whole corruption bit. And I think he had been studying the corruption, just because it was a part of his original creation.
Yeah.
With Matthew and all that.
Right.
But having the other 2 sorcerers potentially working for him,
or
they kind of chanced upon him in the woods, we're not sure about that, which is something, again, that they're building up for the future.
Yep. I wasn't sure whether it was going to be something where they were working for him, or whether it's like, oh, I'm going to end you, basically.
Yeah, we don't know. But that was the last we saw of him. And I half expected the cliffhanger to actually show him, but instead it showed the guy
from the opening.
The opening.
And we don't know whether he's a sorcerer or what, but in the opening he seemed to have some connection to Elias, specifically Elias when he seemed to be in some sort of younger form.
Right. So that'll be interesting to see what his connection is to all this, because we don't know who Isabel is. There has not been, as far as we know, anyone introduced to this whole thing named Isabel.
Here's what I'm wondering. Okay, they brought up also a lot in this episode the whole idea of Elias's origins and the fact that he's not human and not fairy. But at some point, he basically was something. And originally he was a fairy, I think is what they said.
No,
and he's not anymore.
We are pretty sure that he was something like a fairy, because she, the queen, is described as being the mother of all creatures of the night.
Yes.
And he was one of them.
Right.
And he was banished from there. At least that's what we're thinking there. But
because of his transformation or whatever happened with
whatever
the humans
happened
all that time ago.
Right.
And I'm guessing it was probably this guy that was connected to that.
Right. But what we got more or less confirmed is that what he is a shell. He is not in a state of being,
which is great, because again, that's another parallel with Chisei, because when she was originally introduced, she was very much a shell of a person.
Right.
Everything about her
had been
emanated that
hollowed
she was just
out.
Hollow. Yeah.
Yes, and he is literally a hollow, so to speak. Kind of a spirit with a flesh-like illusion body.
Right.
And that's why he can go into that shadow shape form.
Yeah.
That's probably his actual form, and he comes into being as a person, as a bipedal humanoid type figure for the purpose of conducting business and such. I mean, and that would be a reason why he was isolated for all this time, because he's literally a shadow. He's
and
I thought that shadow was just also has
specialization
no form.
of magic, but
a shadow has no form, and he is a hollow shell thing.
So, that is I like that theory.
And they do put in a little bit of the idea of that the Shiggy, was it Shiggy or Spriggan? Spriggan,
yeah.
Yes, because that's a classification of fairies in some kind of old folklore. I forgot which one it was. He's basically saying that, I despise him. Right. And the king is calling him out on his kind of racist kind of thinking. He's like, hey, you don't like anyone that's not a fairy.
Yeah.
And
which they also introduced the whole idea of a human supremacist in this episode.
Yes. Renfred, I think.
Yeah.
But the king countered back with that, well, he's not wholly at fault. It was the humans had some part to play in that as well, which is an idea of making Elias somewhat of a victim of this whole thing, which is also another connection to Chise, in that she didn't choose to be a slave baggy and have all these problems growing up.
Yep, and here's what I got. Since the only context we have for the guy at the end is the opening, and since his connection to Elias seems to be at least not an overtly hostile one.
No, he just has some history with Elias, just like almost everyone else in this world.
But history with Elias that goes back towards pretty close to Elias's beginning.
We are guessing.
Yeah, we're guessing, but it seemed like it was a younger version of Elias. Here's my question.
What's that?
So what if basically Elias was an experiment, either by that guy or by the Show Tucker 2.0.
Oh.
And that guy was actually the one that basically like took him in and basically helped him somehow.
Sure.
You know?
Okay.
And that's how the humans were a part of it. That's how that guy is going to be relevant as a main bad guy because he's tied to Elias's past.
Okay.
Right?
There's a lot of little factors I like that they come together in your little theory. I feel like this is the one show where I'm holding off on heavy plot relevant theorizing because it's such a plot like meandering show
they don't linger,
right, that I don't feel that sense of urgency to move the plot forward. I want to just keep exploring the world. Like once the procession showed up with the Queen of the Fairies, I was just enraptured. I was just oh my gosh, this is so gorgeous and just otherworldly, and this mystical, strange sense of mystical formality and one of the poetry that he was reading.
One of the things I loved about that is that that's something where they're basically spending time with nothing really happening. Right? Because they're saying there's a procession and then they're showing the procession.
Right.
That's something that doesn't really happen in storytelling nowadays.
It's like Tolkien.
It's like Tolkien.
It's so
like,
great.
Like if anything, it happened a lot of the time in like older style like movies or things like that.
Sure.
Because they would spend more time on things. It was a much slower, more mellow pace.
It's theatrical almost.
Exactly. Whereas nowadays things tend to be like, okay, clip, pace, bam,
serialized.
Serialized. Let's keep things moving very quickly. That way we can get as much as possible into our 2-hour amount of time.
And I have grown used to that style, so I appreciate it. I would say generally more than this, but when they give the attention to detail, when they,
it's a huge breath of fresh air.
Right, it's like, oh, I remember reading Tolkien for the first time, and like not Treebeard singing, mind you, but like Tom Bombadil's singing, you know? And kind of him murmuring about his lady Goldberry. Thank you. Like there's that melancholy of beauty, in that beauty is something that is not necessarily specifically feminine, but it's this thing of radiance. It's got light, and if you notice, when she showed up, the entire lighting of the scene changed. And that was just got me chills.
And here's the other thing. Like, there's the idea that with beauty, it doesn't necessarily have to have function, right? And that's something they've done a lot in this show so far. They'll have these things that are absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, even if nothing is really happening in those moments. Yeah. Like the dragon flight. There was
a purpose to it.
There was absolutely a purpose, and it was absolutely amazing, and it was gorgeous. But if you think about what was actually happening, they didn't do
on the
shot-to-shot thing. It was almost a static image.
A lot of the times,
a lot of the time it was, but it was so amazing. We didn't care.
It was so amazing. I started crying.
You did, yeah. I mean, it was fantastic, right?
Right.
So the fact that they're spending the time to do these sorts of things really does do wonders for making the sense of wonder be a lot more apparent.
Right.
Because they're taking their time.
Yeah. And the slew of new characters that were introduced this episode
a lot.
Was something to where I get the feeling this is that halfway point in the story.
Okay.
Where the story dynamic does start to shift. I know we said that we felt the shift towards a linear story like an episode or two ago, but this is where it's concretely now realizing, kind of solidifying the shift.
Yeah, even if it does do like some more episodic bits throughout the story moving forward. It's still very much shown that, like, hey, this is our style. that we're going to be mostly doing from here on out.
And giving Elias and Chise, I would say, the lion's share of the story, so to speak, in this episode, even though they focused a little bit on the king and queen of the fairies, I actually noticed that they were just as mysterious upon like entering as they were upon leaving. As they were upon leaving as they were as when they entered.
Like so you're talking about the fairies.
Yeah, the king and queen of the fairies. Once they came and once they left, they were just as mysterious to me the whole way through. And I liked that they are a part of this world and they owe nothing to Chise or us to explain what they are.
Right.
They're not saying like, I am queen of the fairies, first of my name. Nope. We're going to have a melancholy poem about, what was it, like loss and... something like that.
I can't remember.
And it was great. Oh, that's great.
And but that's so fantastic because fairies should feel very mysterious and different from people. They should not be something that should be easy to understand, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that they focused on the story, expositing, explaining stuff actually on Chise and Elias, and they gave it. They gave it a little bit of a healthy bit of time to where we're now figuring out where they're at as a pair. You know?
now one of the things that I would like to see a lot more of moving forward is like, you know how they've had just amazing lingering moments so far in the story, right? With all the crazy world building stuff.
Right.
I want to see more of that specifically with regards to Chise and Elias. They had that in a sort of scene by scene element here. I want to see that in like a more broad stroke sense.
They did though in the small things, and I feel like having that in the broad sense would be back into the episodic format, and I feel like they can do that.
Sure.
I feel like they can do that, but I also feel like if they did do that, their relationship or whatever it is would be much farther along. Because they straight up mentioned the whole idea of them having sex and like having kids and stuff, and I was like, okay,
they're going there already. Okay, in episode 6,
right. And here's the thing, I feel like this might be a thing where the show might get really mature in a positive way. Chise is still not necessarily going to be in a healthy place with regards to Elias, because while he might be the first person that's treated her this way, there is a little bit of a stereotype that they can help shatter, which is the female character latching onto the first person that treats her better than before.
Right.
And that's not necessarily something Chise wants to do. I think that Chise, in her actions in this episode, were totally like, it made perfect sense. They're very much justified, and they were very, very sweet in a lot of ways.
Oh, absolutely.
But if they go straight from here to, all right, let's actually have the honeymoon kind of thing. Like,
right. Like, let's start the family.
Oh, no, please don't.
No, and so here's the thing. I'm a
little bit worried. Not really, but like I'm talking like that 1%.
Yeah,
1%.
Because like, okay, romance when it's done well is such a special thing in storytelling.
It's so hard to do.
It is so amazing, right? Like and granted, there is a part of me that's hoping this basically turns into fantasy Toradora, right? But and
it kind of is though, except she's nothing like Taiga.
No, none of the characters.
But he is totally Ryuji though.
But and I get that
his scary eyes and everything.
That's a good point. And I get that these are two completely different stories, so I should not be expecting it to be Toradora, because it most definitely is not.
Please don't. Yeah.
Right. But given all of that, there are certain things that like I want them to take the kind of the time with things that Toradora did.
Yes.
Like I want them to basically say, even though the romance is not the main genre for this story, we are going to treat it as if it was, and make sure that when all of the moments along the course of Elias and Chise's journey happen, that we are going to be absolutely cheering on them on the whole way, and that we'll in fact be waiting for, that next part.
That takes time.
Exactly.
That takes time. And that is, I think, the point that you're trying to make, is that we will not get to those cheering and, excited moments until we've had a lot more time with these characters. And my thing is, I feel like they might, in the next, like, episode or 2 or 3, rush things a little bit. And I think that would be a good way to have something not good happen. The idea that things do get rushed and maybe Chisei's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And that would be good, because I'd like to see a little bit more kind of just to show how, while they might have some similarities, show actually how opposite they are in terms of their current state, their current nature,
right?
Not their true nature, but their current nature. And that
where they're at in life, they are not ready,
right? And like, if they rush things, I want there to be the real consequences of relationships like this that take things too quickly.
Yeah.
I know that she cares about him now, and I like that I believed in those moments that she did care about him. I feel like maybe the reasons why are not the best. Not the best reasons, but I feel like this is a transformative work. This is almost like one of the magical spells that we see in this. There's a progression. There's a sense of the transformation happening over time. There's some sacrifices that are made. There are some steps that need to be taken. And what we will see as the finished result will be magical and transformative. But in the meantime, we are transforming
and
presently.
All right. Now here's something that I actually just thought of. All right, everything that they've been doing in this show so far, even if they'll hit on sort of like traditional fantasy elements of like fairies and dragons and all that stuff, they'll do it in very different, unique ways that would be very fresh. Things that we would not have expected. They might very well do the exact same thing with their take on romance.
I think they already have.
And I think they already have, and they might continue to do that and escalate the ways in which they do that.
Sure.
Because, like, you know how you're saying there's that 1% of you that's, like, worried? I have that too, but then there's, like, the other, like, 19% that's like, wait a minute. No, they might actually use the fact that we have that 1% worry to do something actually really, really cool.
Oh, okay. I think that's at about a 3% for me.
Oh, well, I'm always the optimist.
I know. Yeah. You're a sucker for the romance stuff, really, in almost any form. But
hold on now.
I'm not saying you have lower standards than me. Okay, but I am pickier. We'll see. We haven't seen the entire show yet. We've got a lot of stuff to go through, I think, before we get into true romance.
Yes,
absolutely. I think also there's a little bit of a role, like a little bit of a role dissonance.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
So
that needs to be fixed.
Once that, no, it's fine. They're walking across the bridge. As long as they keep walking across the bridge and they don't just decide, screw the bridge, we'll blow it up, and then
exactly.
That's gonna be good.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like actually because they're introducing all these fantastical elements, that can keep the story slow, which also means the romance stuff will be slow as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing that really got me excited about this show once I started watching it. With is that because they're like this is obvious.
Take these off again.
Well, because this show is very obviously like hyper character focused, right?
Right.
But at the same time, it's also very focused on the world and just slowly unveiling everything. It'll be easy for them to avoid the pitfalls of rushing the romantic subplot.
Like, I didn't think about that. I mean, I think you're reiterating most of what I was saying, but the basis about why you're saying that, I don't think I fully thought of. I think that's a good point. And maybe that's the point, is that it is still a subplot.
Right.
Until it becomes a primary plot, we're mostly okay.
Even though it's in the title,
Yeah, but I think that's I think that's the point about this show being a journey, is that they'll have the title actually be in some way about where the story is focused on.
Yes, that's the promise of where it's going.
Right. It's not necessarily what the entire journey is going to be about.
The first two words are ancient and Magus, right?
Right. And here's the part that it's really interesting. You could look at that as a possessive thing, the ancient Magus's bride, and I know this is translated from the original Japanese, but let's say forget the translation of what it actually means. Let's look at it both ways.
Okay.
The ancient Magus bride.
Oh, yeah. The Magus can be the ancient one, or the bride can be the ancient one. Yeah.
Words are a funny thing.
Yep.
And I like the idea that Chisei ultimately is the only main character. Elias's time will pass. And
even though they're always saying it's Chisei's time that'll pass. But
exactly. So I'm putting that out as my one crackpot deep end goal, way beyond where we're at theory.
Well, and here's kind of the rough thing about this. So the other element that was brought up in this episode is that while Chisei is on borrowed time, basically, Elias has a way to circumvent that, but he's not telling her what it is.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I think I've found a way to fix that. Is this going to be one of those things where it involves a certain sacrifice of life on part of Elias?
I'm just saying, like, she called it an experiment, and he basically said, don't worry about it. And someone else said, I think it was the king, he said, how long are you going to keep up that false kindness you've been showing her when she was asleep? He's like, do you think you can keep it up? I was like, oh,
yeah, there's that too. Yeah,
because I feel like when we can look at this show and all its expository goodness, there are specific characters that are going to give the hint exposition, and every time they've done hint exposition, it's been 100% factually correct.
Right, and it's usually been all about Elias.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to take everything Elias says with a grain of salt.
We do, but the fact that they're able to make us be so able to root for it going a specific way,
yes,
even though there is evidence to the contrary,
right?
That's impressive.
It is impressive, but it also shows a little bit of the way that this show could make an about turn, very much like it did recently with sacrificing cats in a shed in the forest to forcibly make your wife drink for the purpose of...
Do we have to relive that?
I'm just saying.
I know.
That was a thing.
Yes, but okay.
And I did say back then that I believed that episode was a microcosm foreshadowing of the entire show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I want to bring up that I think I brought up in a previous video. If you look at the opening, most of the stuff you can't take as being factually sound, right? Because a lot of it could be impressionistic, right? And all that.
Of course not.
But the stuff that's usually at the very beginning and at the very end has the most credence to it.
Well, the one at the beginning's obvious because it's her...
Chisei starting alone. Yeah.
Right.
And at the end, it's Chisei transforming out of being a phoenix and flying into Elias's arms. So
I think it's all actually metaphorical, but
absolutely, I personally would love if she did turn into a literal phoenix, and they've had phoenixes in this show so far.
I think the meta way to look at it, Jacob, is the phoenix one you can take more literally because it would be a waste to animate and draw all that stuff without it being somewhere in the story. So you don't need to think that intelligently on it. You can just go meta, and then therefore you're kind of right.
Sure, but
also, we don't need to speculate about the opening. It's not really... It's not really going to be the most effective tool.
I realize that, but in a lot of cases, that's sort of all we have to go on, like with the guy that was shown at the end of the episode.
And I think that's a risky choice, but it's them saying we're moving towards linear story. We're going to now have little connective tissues that will bridge the gaps between the episodes so that it doesn't feel... disjointed. It keeps the pacing feeling a little bit faster, but it also tells us kind of where they're going to direct the show, as far as just what direction we're going, what cardinal direction in terms of story.
All right.
But yeah.
This was a great episode, though.
I think this is one of the better ones. I think the ambitiousness of introducing so many characters. Oh, wait, no, we forgot something to talk about.
Yeah.
They specifically had the Fairy Queen be like, you that worships the false god that made the fruit of the garden or whatever evil, be gone.
Yeah.
What?
So
how unsubtle can you be?
No, like, there is absolutely nothing subtle about that.
Nothing subtle
I think
at
what
all.
they were basically saying is we are going to pack so many trigger words into this statement that people will miss a lot of them. Right? But if people went back and like, what is the literal thing that she said, they'd be like,
she went full biblical. I was just saying,
yeah.
And they're not trying to be subtle about it. And I have never seen a story do this, but because this is in the real world technically, and they're trying to go for the Harry Potter kind of thing of the world behind the curtain, so to speak, this is very fun because I like when things poke at religion, but oftentimes they make it too kind of stupid.
They walk on eggshells with
it, but they also make it too stupid, where it's like... Where it's like, we have the Ministry of Magic, and they're a bunch of befuddled old people who are overbearing. It's like, we get it. We get it. That one's not subtle, but it's also like, it's trying to have its cake and eat it. It's trying to be both subtle and not subtle. But this one, they're like, no, we're going to straight up take stuff out of Genesis and be like, well, and this is...
and the crazy thing about that is that basically... That's the first thing that talked about an actual, like, millennia spanning, like, conflict between gods.
Well, it's also equating, I think, a little bit the fact that there are people that acknowledge the existence of the god without believing in it. But they also are talking about that god as opposed to saying... the god or a god.
Yes.
So it's saying basically like...
You're the one who did that.
They also said foreign, which is cool, because they're saying that that's a god that doesn't really reside here. Like, this is
our domain,
And why are you bringing your filthy gods
you're trespassing, here? Like, you're tainting this land.
Be
gone.
Which is cool, because then we can go, wait... She's not calling herself a god necessarily, even though they could be considered the gods of Albion.
The fairyland.
Albion is England, and then they also called Tyr. I think Albion and Tyr. Albion is the big island, I think, and then Tyr was considered what Ireland is, basically. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
Yeah.
But then they had the Narvog or Nerdog, something like that, and that's the land of the fairies.
Right.
But was that kind of lore dropping stuff is where I just love that.
Yep.
Give us more proper nouns. I can handle it. I love
that's
this
the kind
of
stuff that Tolkien would do. And while a lot of people could like say criticize his work for being like taking just too long, right? It's those sorts of like dropping those proper nouns and stuff that basically says no. There is a world here, and it's big, and it's expansive, and of course you can't see the whole thing yet, because you're just right here. But if you were to actually see all the stuff that's behind the scenes, you would lose your freaking mind.
Right.
And that makes me really excited for what they do in the future with this show.
Right. Also, I think that this show has struck a nice balance. I'm going to go a little bit mechanical here.
Okay.
Thinking about the future of this show. I could see a lot of people saying this show wouldn't get like a second season as far as an anime goes.
Okay.
But the reason I'd say against that is, like other shows recently that have been a refreshing breath of fresh air for fantasy, this is straight up Tolkien in a lot of ways.
But it's not like ripping off Tolkien.
But it's not ripping exactly. It's actually original because it's drawing things straight from the roots of specific myths. It's not going for the things that interpreted the myths and created elves, dwarves, orcs, and all that.
Everything
crap.
except halflings, because, they aren't epic.
But instead, they're going for the more druidic, Celtic, and Old English type lore mythology and drawing straight from that to their own interpretation.
Exactly.
Rather than ripping off the current popular iteration on those myths.
Which is awesome because it has this
That's why I think it'll get more content at some point in the future.
It has this sense of basically being very similar to things like Tolkien, even though it is, like, so different. Like, if that makes sense, because in style,
no, it is. It is. Also, it's in a TV show format. It's got a condensed. I mean, I would say sort of condensed storyline, actually.
Yep.
Tolkien would have spent way more time on that singing verse from the Spriggan guy.
Yes, he would have. But even in this show, they're still doing, like, even though a lot of it has been episodic so far, they're still having basically those breather episodes in between, right?
Yep.
Where nothing really happens. In this episode, what really happened plot-wise? Not much. They met the Fairy King and Queen, which was very awesome, but there was no major conflict in this episode.
Right, and plot generally equals conflict, but also story does not necessarily equal conflict.
Well,
and I think that's the difference between that being a character-driven story versus being a conflict-driven story.
Well, and here's the thing. You can have conflict that does not pertain to plot. Like, or the plot can be all about conflict without it being about external events. It can completely revolve around characters. It could be someone debating whether they have a glass of water or a glass of milk. That could be
like the comment of the king saying, "How long can you keep up your false kindness?"
Things like that. Yeah, there's
that
tons
kind of thing
of
is a conflict
there, right? Even though
it's not plot.
Yeah,
but
it's referencing plot to come.
Yes, it's not what we would specifically consider plot with regards to the style of generally like TV shows and just media right now.
Yeah.
And I like that they're calling that back because it's kind of the idea of that formula isn't original at all, but it went out of style recently, and now they're bringing it back.
Exactly.
And so it feels like, this is good.
It's like hearing a joke that you haven't heard in like 10 years, and you forgot how funny it was.
Right.
And then you're just like, oh yeah, that is amazing.
That is amazing. Yep. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this was a lot of fun.
It was.
I love that this sparks all kinds of discussion that's not necessarily specifically around the episode. This is one of those shows that has that like potential to spark all the conversation specifically around the episode, even though we probably did miss some things in discussion.
Sure.
Doesn't matter. This is just a show that has the proper itch that it scratches for us.
Yep.
And it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So if you want to watch the next episode's reaction right now, you can go check out the Patreon early access link in the description below. And yeah, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.